Thanksgiving's right around the corner and everyone's going to be stuffing their gullets full of turkey, ham, beans, potatoes, whatever it may be. And I'm here to give you an appetizer to Thanksgiving, a 2023 NFL mock draft with the current draft order. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. Go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the video. You can get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code Broshmo at checkout. Put it in all caps to really let them know I sent you. It helps the channel, and you can help your boys look a little cleaner cut. But let's go ahead and get into this, and we're going to be starting with the Houston Texans, and there's only one way to go, and that's quarterback. Listen, you're here with the first overall pick. You got a shot at taking whoever you deem the top quarterback on the board. Luckily, there are two quarterback prospects that we can consider top 5 prospects in this class. Davis Mills ain't the answer, but he's all right. He's okay-ish. So we're going to go ahead with my top quarterback on the board being Bryce freaking Young. So we go ahead and take him. The Carolina Panthers, hopefully they can stay in this 1-2 area, because this team, I feel like, is missing everything but quarterback, man. The defense is looking good. It's keeping them in games, and they have some playmakers. Obviously, they could use more playmakers. They could do that through free agency or parts of the draft. The offensive line is starting to come along. So let's go ahead and get that next quarterback of the future, because it ain't on the roster. CJ Stroud is the guy I'm talking about. Prototypical quarterback size with an NFL arm. I like me Stroud. So now for the Chicago Bears, I like to go offense for the Chicago Bears, whether it be tackle or receiver. Though at this point you're picking essentially the best non-quarterback prospect on the board, being Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. And I think that Matt Eberflus is going to look at his squishy middle of the defense and be like, man, I would love to put a monster like Jalen Carter there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Jalen Carter for the Chicago Bears. The Las Vegas Raiders. The pass rush is pee-pee poo-poo. Trash. If you ain't Mad Max, you ain't getting pressure. Looks like Chandler Jones might be washed at this point. Unfortunate that you gave him all that money. Is what it is. Pair up Max Crosby with Will Anderson, who is just a monster. There's a great case to be made that Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, they're 1A, 1B. Some people tend to side with Anderson, and that's fine, man. Anderson's been great. Now, we got the Seattle Seahawks. This is via the Denver Broncos. That Russell Wilson trade's looking better and better by the day, or by the week. But let's go ahead and get them a very toolsy pass rusher. I don't think they're done just getting good pass rushers there. They have some solid options, but let's shoot for the moon, man. Myles Murphy is a guy with immense physical tools. He just needs a bit more polish, and he's got a very versatile body type. Who's to say you can't have 3 pass rushing options on the field at once? The Detroit Lions, I would love to go quarterback. That ain't it with Will Levis for me. That just ain't. I don't want to take him in this regard. Maybe we swoop back with the next pick and maybe select him, because if I'm the Lions, I don't want to go with Jared Goff. I just don't. I don't want to go with Jared Goff moving forward. But there's no denying the defense needs some more talent. Aiden Hutchinson's starting to look good. Aleem McNeil just had a big week this past weekend against the New York Giants. Let's go ahead. Let's get Jeffrey Okudah, someone opposite of him, being Kelee Ringo. I think when it comes to tools, he has them for days. Wonderful athlete, and hopefully the production follows. The Houston Texans, we went ahead, we took Bryce Young. But who do we take next? Who? Well, I like the idea of going pass rush. So Brian Brzee is a thought. But I really do think Tyree Wilson is going to really move up boards. He isn't He's a similar prospect to Trayvon Walker in terms of length, size, very good mover at that size. However, he's not going to have the elite metrics when it comes to workouts. However, what he does have that our boy Trayvon Walker didn't is production. So I'm going to go with Tyree Wilson. He just feels like a Lovie Smith guy. The Pittsburgh Steelers, man, I thought pretty long and hard on this one, and I kind of settled on we want to address the tackle position. That's the position we want. Pierce Skoronsky, there's going to be questions about whether he is a tackle or if he's an interior player because he doesn't have ideal length, but it's not like he has the great movement skills to really elevate him to Penei Sewell or you would say Rashawn Slater type of ceiling. So we're going to go with, I think, the next guy up, and I think Paris Johnson's just a really good fit at this point. Jacksonville Jaguars. This is actually one of my favorite places to go for the Jacksonville Jaguars because freaking Trevor Lawrence loves himself big boy receivers. Quentin Johnston is a big boy receiver. Going back to Clemson, Trevor Lawrence had guys like T. Higgins and such. Now we give him Johnston to pair up with Calvin Ridley. You got Christian Kirk in the slot. You have a very good Zay Jones who come in and be that good depth. Like you surround him with these weapons and you get that answer. Is he worth moving forward with after year 3? So we're going to go Quentin Johnston. Some people don't think he's a top 10 pick. I think he can sneak into the top 10 with that size, what he can do after the catch and such. The Philadelphia Eagles, really, you're just going best player on the board if you are the Philadelphia Eagles. Fortunately, you got Brian Brazee here. Pairing him up with Jordan Davis, I think would be just freaking nuts. You could make a case for corner here, though. I think Brian Brazee is just he's a bit better of an option. The next guy up I have is like 5 spots behind him, so it's like, let's just go ahead and go with the value. Brian Brazee went on the field is just taking so much attention away from other parts of the defensive line. This is why you see guys like KJ Henry and Tyler Davis, Xavier Thomas really succeeding. So Brian Brazee, pair up with your Jordan Davis. All right, Arizona Cardinals. If they can't get pass rush, then you go with corner. If you can't get corner, you go with pass rush. In this case, corner it is. That cornerback room needs talent. It needs depth. It needs competition. I think Joey Porter is a Vance Joseph type of guy, so we're going to go with Porter here. And then the Green Bay Packers. I really want to get an offensive weapon, but I also don't believe this team's going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. I just don't. Robert Tonyan is a free agent, though. Michael Mayer is a really good tight end. He might not be the freaking Kyle Pitts was, but this dude's a consistent chain mover. He knows how to create separation despite not having like ideal athletic tools to do so. He's very good at using his hands to create separation. He's also very, very sneaky out of his breaks. You got a guy that's a very good run blocker. Maybe you can get A.J. Dillon going, though you do have Aaron Jones there. So we're going to go with Michael Mayer. All right, Detroit Lion fans, listen, Goff is dog water. Let's go ahead. Will Levis, believe it or not, this dude's probably going inside the top 15, maybe even the top 10. His physical tools are just that immense when you're talking about quick release, big arm, lots of velocity, mobile, play strength, and he's a guy coming from a very translatable offense that is coached by former 49ers quarterback coach. Last year, it was Liam Cohen, I believe. That's how you say his name. The now OC for the Rams. This is a guy that, he's a good processor. He really is. It's just, it comes in spurts, especially when it comes to the decision making. That coaches are going to believe that they can remedy that. They just think they could fix, like, if a guy really is just not there mentally just yet, they think they could coach that up, especially if they have all these physical traits. So we got Will Levis coming off the board here to the Detroit Lions, which means, Indianapolis Colts. Man, this sucks. There's really not a quarterback I'd want to take here at 14. Obviously, Hendon Hooker, everything going down with the ACL means he's going to slide. Tanner McKee, you kind of already have a statue in the pocket when it comes to Matt Ryan, though Tanner McKee is a bit better of an athlete, though this guy is a pocket passer through and through. And Anthony Richardson's just this enigma, man. This guy that's just oozing tools. But is this too high for him? Is he a guy that's necessarily going to work out for most teams? I don't know, but I think you just kind of if you're going to be the first. This is going to be your first pick as coach for the Colts. You want to make sure you hit on it. Let's go ahead. Let's grab an offensive tackle here, and I'm actually going to go with Olu Fashanu here for the Indianapolis Colts, a guy that is still being put together as a run blocker, but that has all these traits and these tools. You like the athleticism, you love the length. He's already put together as a pass blocker, so we're gonna go with that there. The Atlanta Falcons. This one's a bit interesting. I would love pass rush, but there's guys on the board here and there. But do I really want to take any of them? I think just corner has much more talent at this point. So I'm going to go ahead with Cam Smith. I think he'd be a good fit for Dean Pease. And then the Los Angeles Chargers. They really lost a lot when Guyton went down before the season. I really think he would have been this ideal vertical separator that they're just really missing, especially with Mike Williams banged up. But he's not a separator. Williams is more of this contested, big-bodied vertical guy. Let's go ahead with Jordan Addison, who can stretch the field both vertically and horizontally. Ideal separator, can make moves after the catch too. Showed he could win on the outside. I like that, and I like it a lot. Washington Commanders. Listen, I'm just going to go with best player on the board. Like Christian Gonzalez was a thought, but Pierre Skoronsky's nice here. Maybe if Leno isn't the long-term option, perhaps you go with Skoronsky. If anything, he could play either of those guard spots until you feel like you want to move on from Leno. So Skoronsky is the best player on the board at this point and juncture. The New York Jets. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I thought about quarterback. I really did. However, the tackle position is a bit concerning for the Jets. We know Salah and we know Joe Douglas love the trenches. So Broderick Jones sitting here, he's the best run blocker, I think, or one of the best run blocking tackles in this class. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to snag him right here for the Jets. Jets. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buckaroonies. You got two big free agents in Jamil Dean and Sean Murphy-Bunting, and they might not be able to bring back either of them. You got Christian Gonzalez staring you in the face, and I think you go ahead and you take it. You do it. This guy was on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. That kind of fits the draft criteria for corners when it comes to the Bucs, so we're going to grab him here. The Denver Broncos, man. This draft did not fall how you would have liked it. You could reach on a tackle at this point, though. Anton Harrison, I think you can make a case, isn't that much of a reach here. Osiris Torrance, like they're really good. Even if they don't bring back Dalton Reisner, they have Quinn Miners that is just waiting to start, or at least get more playing time. I think they got good players there on the interior, so it's not really a lot to worry about there. I did think about Jackson Smith-Njigba. I thought that might be a very nice pickup. Yeah, I think tackle, receiver were the only areas I was really considering, but I just went ahead, looked at who was the highest on my board at this point, and the guy that I came down to was Brian Branch. Listen, Kareem Jackson's getting up there in dog years. Brian Branch is a guy that can play in the slot. He can play deep. He can play in the box. He's one of the better run defending defensive backs in this class. The dude has, I think, no missed tackles on the season. So, yeah, I'm just going to go with talent there. So now we have the Seattle Seahawks, and they definitely could improve on the quality of their interior offensive line. Osiris Torrance is probably the only first round, or at least only interior prospect you'd consider in the first round here. So we're going to go ahead and grab Osiris Torrance. That way, bam, this is a team that wants to run the football. With Kenneth Walker, you get him something there. Now we have the New England Patriots, and this is a pick I've really been liking going to, is Trenton Simpson. You get this very versatile weapon that Bill Belichick could play with on the defense. So we're going to go ahead and snag that. Probably really the only linebacker worth a first rounder, I think, at this point in time. All right, this is where things get interesting. Straight up, Bijan's going to have to go somewhere. So let's experiment with different teams that might be willing to take him. We've talked about teams like the Bucks, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Cowboys, and such. Let's talk about the Bengals taking Bijan Robinson, because Joe Mixon's due $13 million the next year and the year after. If they decide to part ways with him, because let's be honest, he's a guy that is not always the most productive. He has these big games and then just will go on for a few games where it's just like, okay, you got like 15 carries, 30 yards. Like, and you might be like, oh, part of that's the offensive line. I think, you know what? Just go ahead, try to free up some space, because I think he frees up about 5 to 8 million if you do release him or move on from him this offseason. And Bijan Robinson, I'm not saying that's an upgrade, but I'm saying that's looking pretty darn good. A guy that could also be a versatile weapon. You just keep adding weapons to this offense, and I think it really looks nuts. So again, experimenting with a different spot here for Bijan. And then the Buffalo Bills, they really could go anywhere with this pick. It's kind of a value pick. Osiris Torrance is kind of a favorite pick of mine. He is not on the board. So I think Antonio Johnson's probably the next best get. A guy that's just a very good safety, also can play in the slot. Obviously, he did that very well in 2021. So we're going to go with him here. Provides a lot of length, great build. The Baltimore Ravens, very tough pick here. I thought about going edge, but I think ultimately, they need more receiving help. Jackson Smith-Njigba is one of the best run blocking wide receivers in this class. On top of that, he's a guy that can create after the catch. So just adding a little bit more juice at the receiver position. The Tennessee Titans, listen, man, there's areas they can go. This wide receiver class, I'm looking and it's like the guy I would want to go with is probably Jalen Hyatt for Tennessee, but I feel like that's just a bit too early for my taste. You know, Derrick Henry is the bread and butter. He is the money. He is the breadwinner when it comes to this offense. So let's make sure the offensive line is doing a mighty nice. We've seen encouraging signs from Nicholas Petit-Frere. Nate Davis is a really good player. You got Ben Jones. Then you look at you got Aaron Brewer. They even Dylan Radins, who I believe got the start this past week and was meh. And then obviously you look at the tackle position, and Taylor Lewan probably can move on from him. Dennis Daly ain't it. So we're going to go ahead and go with Anton Harrison, man. I'm a big fan of Anton Harrison, a guy that knows his play strength needs to get better. It has this year. It's not quite there yet, but a guy that is very, very aware of where he needs to get better at. And that's really, I think, the biggest sticking point for him. So I think what we've seen this year has been very encouraging. He is this fringe first round talent. The Dallas Cowboys, man. I would love to get Osiris Torrance. He's not on the board. Wish there was another corner I'd be willing to take here. For me, Clark Phillips is just a bit too undersized to really want to get at this juncture. No Bijan, so because Tony Pollard is a free agent. The receiving class, it's like, I kind of feel like Jalen Hyatt's the type of guy I'd want to get here, but it's a bit too high. So I went with the defensive interior. I went out and got Siaki Ika. They really don't have that big space eater presence on the interior, so we went ahead and grabbed it for him here. The New York Giants, obviously, quarterback is a thought. I love the idea of taking a swing at one of the maybe one of these fringe first quarterback prospects here, like Tanner McKee, Anthony Richardson. Again, Hendon Hooker probably out of that range at this point because of the ACL injury. But we know receiver is kind of an issue for them. They got Wandale, and that's really about it. Darius Slayton, honestly, has played pretty well this year, but they can get better. And I'm going to go with Kayshon Boutte. You might as well roll the dice on a guy that's got a lot of upside. The Minnesota Vikings, I love giving them Clark Phillips, but let's go ahead and experiment with a different scenario. We know receiver. They would love to get more guys, more weapons in the receiving game next to Justin Jefferson. They added TJ Hawkinson. Adam Thielen's getting up there in age. We haven't seen KJ Osborne's like hit or miss. But I think a guy like Josh Downs, who's just this twitched up athlete that can create after the catch. So you love the start-stop ability. A guy you can get to the ball too quick and he can make moves. I've really turned the corner when it comes to Josh Downs. He's had a very good season. So let's go with him here. The Kansas City Chiefs. This pick is edge for me. This pick is edge. Listen, I don't want to add any more young corners. Go ahead and add corners via free agency. And it's pass rush, man. It's pass rush. A lot of pass rush. But you've seen encouraging things from George Karlaftis. Honestly, Frank Clark hasn't been that bad this year. You know, he's a bit hit or miss. He's a guy that's a bit streaky. He's like the J.R. Smith when it comes to the edge position. But I'm stuck between a guy that I really like in Jared Verse that I want to take at this pick, and then Isaiah Foskey, who I think kind of fits the mold more for what the Chiefs want in their edge players. And he does have a high floor. But you know what? I love the strength. I love the speed. I love Jared Verse, so I think I'm just going to snag him right here. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, let's go outside the box here because we took Brian Brazee. We know corner position will be a need with Darius Slay up there in dog years and James Bradbury being a free agent. So I like the idea of, this is tough, man. I'm stuck between Manuel Forbes or Eli Ricks. Eli Ricks hasn't really shown enough this year since he did. They waited a while to start him, and then he had to deal with the, I think he was in concussion protocol. Not necessarily a concussion, but he was in protocol for it. So Forbes means they would have to alter what they've done this year that's been a lot of success, or has been very successful on defense. Because Forbes is a guy that comes from an exceptionally zone-heavy scheme, while you see the Eagles playing a lot more man coverage this year. Does this mean Forbes can't play man coverage? I don't think so. But I'm going to go ahead. I'll risk the biscuit on a guy like Forbes because he's got the size. He's a guy you want to play and press, so I think he can succeed if you still want to stick with a more man coverage heavy scheme. He is a guy you're going to have to ask to be more discreet with his hand usage as he is prone to penalties here and there. But this guy just set the record for career pick sixes, not just in the SEC, but in all of FBS football. With 6 throughout his career. He has 3 this season. He had 3 in 2020. So we're going to go with Forbes here. And we get the +1 because they always include the Texans' first, second round pick. So if I'm the Texans, like Foskey's a thought. I'm not going to lie. Like Foskey's a thought just to pair him up with Wilson because you have older options there in Hughes and Addison. Grenard, he's fine. I feel like he might end up being more of a rotation guy. So Foskey, I kind of look at him. I'm like, ooh, I want that. I might want that a lot. You also might look at a receiver, but again, you're in the same problem where it's like, I don't think the receiving class, this just feels too high for some of these guys. Maybe safety. Not really. No, there's not a safety. Like Gervin Dexter's also thought to get some help on the interior. But I think I'm just going to pair up. I'm going to go pass rusher. And I'm going to pair up Wilson with Foskey. And hopefully those are my guys moving forward. But that's my mock draft. I thought we did a good job of experimenting with a variety of different possibilities, especially when we got to this Houston Texans pick. Seeing what happens if Skronsky does fall, I thought was pretty neat. Michael Mayer going where I'd be willing to take him. Will Levis not going to the Colts for once. But I thought this was very interesting. We got to showcase some maybe newer players that you haven't seen a lot in mock drafts, like Anton Harrison, Josh Downs, Emmanuel Forbes. I think that Bijan Robinson pick is interesting. I don't know. You let me know in the comment section below. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. Have a great Thanksgiving. Don't know if I'll have a video for you. If it is, it's just going to be a mock the mock. Y'all just watch football and be merry on Thanksgiving. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.